So all of the local television stations, Fox 11, KBC, KTLA,
Yeah.
KCAL, all of them
Yeah.
completely ignored former Sheriff Alex Villanueva left the Democratic Party, which was a giant announcement.
It
Giant.
was.
It was
It was.
huge.
Yes, it is. For many different reasons, right? I mean, it not only for the simple fact that of who he is, but more importantly, the reason why he left is very important.
Yeah. And thankfully, Prime and I were guests attending that event specifically to see this announcement.
As of today, and if you have cameras, get them rolling. Share this on social media. As of today, I'm leaving the party of paid protests, purple hair, and pronouns. I'm joining the party of faith, family, and freedom.
What's amazing to see is the cock blocking. The no, seriously, it is strategic cock blocking of necessary information because people need to understand that he left that party for very good reasons. Not only
Yes.
did they fuck him over,
Yeah.
okay, they're out of control and they are destroying not only LA County, but California in general. And that means the Democratic Party.
Yes.
And another thing that we are going to talk about right after this with Alex, we're going to talk about Governor Newsom is single-handedly responsible for the fact that gas prices may double, literally double in California. We already are the highest in the nation, and
Yeah.
we may double even more.
Yeah. Apparently up
Of
to $8, right? Something like that.
$8.43. That is the result of these clean gas bullshit requirements
Yeah.
that, we have the cleanest gas in the nation. Great. We'll get to that anyway in a minute. But
Yeah.
more important is the complete censorship of this story with Alex. And it was a huge move. He was on multiple conservative networks. He was on
Yes, he
Fox
was.
News like 3 times, One America News.
And joining us now is former LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva himself. Sheriff, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Okay, I got to ask you, what was your tipping point for you to officially say, I'm out?
Well, I'm going to set aside what the Democratic Party did to me when I was office as sheriff. They made life as difficult as possible. It's what the Democratic Party has done to California, to Los Angeles County, and to the city of LA. Every single policy they propose has been an absolute failure. This is progressive ideology run amok. And when it blows up, as everything does, you talk about crime, you talk about homelessness, you talk about taxation rate, you talk about healthcare, anything that they propose always fails. And the media just covers it up and says, hey, move along, nothing to see here. That is the Democratic Party of today.
Newsmax, Fox 3 times.
Sheriff, what took you so long?
That's a good question. I'll tell you this, it's a 44-year journey. And as Reagan said way back in the day, I didn't leave the party left me. And not just me, the party has abandoned the entire state of California and every single person in it. You look at the policies, everything they've proposed and implemented with their supermajority has been an utter disaster. Be it crime, be it immigration, be it homelessness, be it taxation, regulatory. They have nothing that they can say, hey, we did that and it worked. Nothing. So it's time to leave them behind. It's time to join the future. And let's get everyone who's, like myself, a former Democrat, get him on a party that can provide some balance into this equation, this disaster that the Democratic Party has served on people in California.
Like, he was all over the place with millions and millions of viewers. And I also saw that Sean Hannity from Fox also put it on his own website.
No
The
kidding.
article. Yes.
Oh, I didn't read that.
So Tell me about your thoughts. What do you think of this?
Now I'm going to go on record by saying this. I wasn't born and raised a Republican. Okay. I mean, there's certain people who obviously are born into a family like that, conservative as well. And then vice versa. I obviously, but I was the type of person that could care less about politics. It wasn't until getting into law enforcement that it opened up my eyes. When you're at the front row and you see like, oh my God, why is this like this? Why is that like that? And then you get to see the ramifications and consequences of people's votes and what they vote for and therefore the ramifications of that. So it's very clear to see once you're in there what needs to happen, what is the party you need to align yourself with, and which one is the party that's actively caring about not only the people, the vox populi, but also the needs of the city, the needs of the county, the needs of the state, and then therefore the needs of the country. Now, for Villanueva he was, correct me if I'm wrong, Cece, but he was a Democrat for what was it, like 40 plus years, right?
44 to be exact. Yes.
44 years. I mean, that's a lifetime, right? And for someone to be deep in the Democratic Party per se, aligned with certain values, and to switch over, that's saying a lot. I mean, that's and it's something that what angers me the most is legacy media. They are a bunch of cherry picking bastards. They really love to just, okay, we're going to go ahead and emphasize on this fact, but this fact we're going to throw out the window because it doesn't fit our narrative. And that is something that, in my opinion, legacy media should not do. A lot of people go to legacy media for particular facts and information, and they're manipulating the entire thing. And for them to stay silent over particular things like Villanueva going over to the Republican Party, that is a big deal. That is saying a lot. That is going along the same lines as censorship, censoring the free speech, because they don't want you to know that someone as prestigious as Villanueva is going over to the Republican Party.
Well, what's interesting is that if the Democratic Party was so strong in LA County, like everybody says, oh boy, it's blue, it's big, it's blue, it's blue. If it was, why would you need to steal elections? And why would you need to hide something like this? If anything, if you're that confident in how many people are truly Democrats in Los Angeles County, why not just put it out there? Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you, if it was going to inflame or enrage voters, why wouldn't you just put it out there? But instead, they are fucking hiding this information. And the one, there was like some small Beverly Cannon little newspaper, but good on you, that they put it out there. And then Alex Michelson from Fox 11, he actually did share that Alex changed parties, but that's not to be confused with an actual story on Fox 11, with an actual story on ABC 7, the same channel that depicted a black woman being thrown to the ground by a deputy when it was really a suspect resisting arrest, like completely not reporting the story the way the story should have been.
It was a giant play on words, giant twist of the actual story, just to fit their BS narrative.
Yes.
And because of that, innocent people are paying the price for that. Innocent people like you and me, people, the people of Los Angeles, everyone's paying the price for that.
Yes, everybody is paying the price for that. And so that being said, you got to watch where you get your news, people. Prime and I are going to start kind of broadening our news. Yeah, broadening our horizons, broadening our scope on news stories. And one of them, I'm hoping to reach out, not hoping to reach out. I am going to reach out to Mark Garagos, the attorney for the Menendez brothers. I have been in contact with him in the past when I was a producer on a radio station. I'm going to see if we can get him on to be a guest and talk about the case.
Yeah.
And so I think this is also a good time to transition into the gas prices. So Senate Minority Leader Brian W. Jones of San Diego is sounding the alarm on a looming energy and economic crisis, warning that California gas prices could soar 75% to $8.43 per gallon in 2026 due to the shutdowns of two major in-state refineries, according to a recent analysis by USC professor Michael Miche.
Yeah.
Pardon me if I don't pronounce that correctly. In a letter sent to Governor Gavin Newsom today,
Yes.
which was May 6th, Leader Jones calls for the urgent action to stop the refinery closures. Ooh, and there's a letter. I'm going to include that letter.
There's the letter. Yep.
Quote, if the governor doesn't act now, Californians will be blindsided by sticker shock at the pump and skyrocketing prices on everyday goods. So there you go. Not just affecting your drive, people, affecting your goods, which guess what? Also affects not only the prices at the supermarket, it affects the prices at restaurants. And if you're putting so much gas in your car, guess where all that money is going to go? Into your car, not into the local businesses, which is going to affect those local businesses, affect the economy. And again, this is yet another Democratic loser leader pushing for these types of crises,
Yes,
this complete catastrophe for our economy in California. We're already suffering enough with record high rents, and there are all kinds of iconic restaurants and businesses that are closing down after 40 years, 50 years, 60 years even. And they are closing because the rents are too high and the goods are too high. And now we have this.
Yes, and this is actually, to caveat what you just stated, amongst all of this nonsense that's happening, not only in Los Angeles County, but all over California, people are struggling. You still have those people that are still trying to find homes and rebuild in Malibu and in Pacific Palisades.
Excellent point.
They're pretty much, they're fucked hard with everything. There's a mass exodus happening in California. People are becoming savvy as to the Democratic Party and the ridiculous tyrannical rule of California, and they are leaving in droves, and it's not even comical. I mean, this is just adding a cherry to the whole thing.
Absolutely.
You raise these gas prices, the entire infrastructure of California would just sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Absolutely.
It's and as this is happening, he's over there with his shit-eating grin, wondering about his fucking podcast. Who is he gonna have next on his podcast, right? It's almost satire.
But really, it's interesting how they keep digging the hole deeper for themselves. Like, how do you think that is going to make your bid for president in 2028? How do you think that this is going to help you? How do you think that's going to help you? This is insane.
It just doesn't make sense. You try to sit down and you think about it. Like, what is this guy's angle? What is he trying to do here? I get the whole podcast thing because obviously, one of their major gripes was the whole Joe Rogan thing, how they clearly stated, the Democratic Party stated, we need someone like Joe Rogan to be a podcaster because, they want to get that information out there, their own information out there. But the funny thing is about that is that Joe Rogan was part of the Democratic Party, and he left them as well for the same exact reason that Villanueva left the Democratic Party. It's the same thing.
Great point. So this quote is by Senate Minority Leader Mr. Jones. Quote, let's be clear. Newsom owns this gas crisis. His policies have made it nearly impossible for California refineries to stay open. As Newsom eyes the White House, America should be watching closely. The crisis he created here could be the next national nightmare.
Yeah, there's no way. I just don't understand how anyone in their right mind can possibly conceive the idea that Newsom can run for president. That makes zero sense.
You have to have not a brain cell in your head to even think that this man should be anywhere near the White House. He shouldn't have been governor for California. We should have been able to recall him. But of course, it's the whole voter ID, the whole steal elections, the whole stuff the ballots 30 days after the election until we get enough to pull it over the top. That's exactly what the Democrats have been doing, which is why I kept saying, if there are so many Democrats, what are y'all worried about? Why do you have to steal elections? Why?
Yeah. The math doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Why are you letting illegal aliens vote for our president in this country? We're not allowed to go to their country and vote.
Yeah,
Why should they be allowed to do that here?
that is such a lost concept to me. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's and if you for those people who still don't understand, if you water down the actual idea of doing that, like like illegal immigrants voting, that just doesn't make that's almost as bad as like a rival school going across country, a high school going over to the other side of the country and implementing their own rules inside a school that has nothing to do with them whatsoever. And they're doing it just simply because they can. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That is catastrophic. That is anyone with common sense just I don't understand how this is even a topic of conversation, really.
I could not agree more. And the article goes on to say, on top of the pain at the pump, Leader Jones warns that the refinery closures threaten thousands of good paying union and trade jobs that support working families and local economies. The two refineries directly employ 1,300 Californians, and using the commonly accepted job multiplier for the industry at 2.3, indirectly supporting nearly 3,000 jobs statewide. In Leader Jones's letter, he warns that the loss of these refineries will destabilize fuel supply, drive gas prices through the roof, eliminate thousands of good-paying jobs, increase the state's reliance on expensive out-of-state fuel, and jeopardize national security. We're not just losing gas, we're losing jobs, losing local economies, losing our grip on affordable living in California, which I think we already lost anyway.
Yeah, that's gone.
And losing a critical layer of our national security, concluded Leader Jones. The letter also points to the governor's excessive regulations and financial burdens on gasoline producers, SBX1-2, ABX2-1, and changes to the low carbon fuel standard, which may have made it increasingly difficult for refineries to remain operational. To prevent refinery closures and ensure long-term energy stability, Leader Jones recommends the governor work directly with California's fuel producers to find immediate solutions, which could include exploring the investment tax credits and temporary or permanent relief from certain taxes and regulation.
Jeez.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Well, they nailed it right there. That's for sure.
Yeah. So that's what we're looking forward to, is seeing how this mess concludes or resolves itself, or
is there like a time window with this, Cece, at all? Like,
well, they have until the end of the year, but we're already in the middle of the year. I mean, it would have to be emergency orders. Can Trump step in? I don't know. Like, we have to always look, hey, do we need to go to the White House and have the White House step in? Because, we're sucking wind over here. We're drowning. We need help.
Honestly, I think it's going to boil down to the fact that the Trump administration is going to have to step in one way or another. If not the Trump administration, at the bare minimum, Doge needs to step in. They need to step in and do something, because it's not that and I do have to put this out there. One common gripe that I hear is that, oh, well, you Californians did it to yourself. No. Wait a minute. Not all Californians are nuts as fuck like everyone thinks we are, okay? There is, I mean, if you look back at the polls when Trump went into office, the majority of California was actually red. We're sick of so much nonsense that happened in California. It was just particular pockets that were blue, right? So it's that kind of thing where the majority of Californians are wanting to fight back. They're wanting to change. Not everyone in California is opting for Newsom and all this progressive nonsense. So they have to have that understanding that we need the help, especially now. We need the help.
That will also translate into the rebuilding of all these homes.
Yes.
And people who are already on that thread of should I or should I not, that may push them to, I'm not going to do it. It's just already crazy.
They're already moving to Texas, Florida. I mean, there's so many other places that, it's that kind of thing where you want to wait and see what happens and you can take your chances, or do you want to go live your life right now and be happy somewhere else? I really doubt people want to stay to wait and see what happens.